What's happening, everybody? Hopefully you're all okay. Welcome back. Let me just sort this out yet again because it hasn't done it. There we go. You get to see my lovely face. There we go. All sorted. Right, we're just gonna be chatting for a bit before we start. Get some people in the chat. Don't know if anyone's in it yet. But yeah, great result last night. Great result. Shout outs to Kieran Morgan, as always. So yeah. Oh man. You're right, Nick. Welcome back. Welcome back, Nick. Good to see you in the chat. Big shout outs to you. First one in, I think you are. Hopefully you're having a good day today. How are we? Oh, big week ahead of us still. We've still got Middlesbrough to come. We do. On the weekend. That'll be the match preview show tomorrow, I think. So that'll be the schedule. Like I said, tomorrow will be match preview. And then Saturday will be watch along again. And then we'll be back to normal. I totally understand that, Nick. I get you what you're saying, 100%. When we win, happy days. It's just basically that simple. Oh, mate, that stream actually killed it last night. Actually, we finished off. I think it was with 1.1k views and a load of bloody subscribers. We did. Everyone we reached. What was it, like 20 something likes? I think on that live stream. I knew it'd be a big game, and a lot of trolls coming in to wind us up. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that result. I'll be honest, I didn't expect it. And last night was a banger of a game. But we look up towards Saturday. We do against Borough. That's going to be the difficult one, I think. After their result again, Morgan Whitaker, we're gonna have to watch out for him because he looks like he's in form at the moment. So yeah. Who's in the chat? How are we? Who's in the chat? Anyone else apart from Nick? Not gonna lie, I just had a nice Chinese I did actually. Let me sort this camera out because I don't know why it's doing that. There we go, better. What do we think? Anyone else? What do we think of the game last night? Everyone enjoy it? Oh, damn. I'm not gonna lie, I think 7 o'clock is pretty much when everyone comes in. I'm not gonna lie. I think 7 o'clock is where people get home from work. Oh, man. Right. Cool. Let's kick this off. Let's kick this off. Right. Let's switch to the other one. Right, so as you can see, big game yesterday it was, winning 2-1 at home to Birmingham City at Loftus Road. Great ending to a very frustrating night, I would say, in my what I would say. I don't think it was the greatest of games that we played, but it was one of the most exciting games we've played. I personally think we was going into that really like was gonna lose, to be honest. And I'm not trying to be negative on QPR, but Birmingham are a really good side, and QPR do have this tendency to, as I would say, make mistakes against confidence and stuff like that. We went into that game and took the lead yet again before half time. Jimmy Dunn getting the first goal for us from across I believe it was who was it that crossed it? I think it was Sato, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to have a look. Who got the assist? Yeah, it was Sato, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, Sato whipped the ball in from the right hand side in the first half, and Jimmy Dunn got ahead of Steve Cook and banged a nice little header in. He did. Let me mute my phone because that's just gonna go off constantly. I know it is because it's the Ring doorbell. Mute that. Sorry, people. So yeah, I think it was just pretty much as I said. But we did have chances before that with obviously Paul Smith headering it and unlucky with that, and an unlucky shot from Paul Smith as well, I think it was, with the long range curve. Now, it was good to see the early goal. Well, not early, but a first half goal. You know, Nardi did all right. Pulled off some good saves. I would say in the first half, it was passing game was good from Birmingham. Passing game from us was really bad. We kept giving the ball away, and we just couldn't. I would say we just couldn't do the same thing as what Birmingham are doing in the sense of keeping control of the game, you know, if I can say that. But we were having more opportunities in the box than they were. So that was a positive, you know. You had Coney and Burrell both up front. You did, as it looks like, two up front. Obviously rotating and changing into maybe a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 possibly, you know, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we didn't really do much up front, I'll be honest, with our strikers yesterday whatsoever in that first half. It was more, we woke up pretty much in the second half, we did, when it came down to, I would say, a couple of opportunities between 45 and when we made the subs with who came on, I believe, 45 to about 65 minutes, we were pretty much doing our best to get another goal. But as QPR, sometimes they do sit back and you know, stop the attacking for a bit. They do, which I think pretty much from the 78th minute, if I'm not mistaken, we kind of just gave up. We did. It was all Birmingham trying to go on the attack. You know, they were trying to get the goal. They were, and eventually they did get the goal. In the 90th plus 1 minute, they did, I believe it was. From Patrick Roberts, I believe it was. With when we made the Kieran Morgan substitution with Mbenge. So man of the match Mbenge, he came off, and I did say when he came off, hang on people, move this. When he did come off, it did change the game a little, I thought, with the sense of Kieran Morgan being, I think with Damari Gray, he's a type of player that can get past certain players, and I think Kieran Morgan hasn't got really the physicality structure to defend in that right back against certain players, you know. And Damari Gray took that advantage and yeah, did a nice delivery to Patrick Roberts, who finished it in the box. Cracking finish it was. And then in the 97th minute, we had, or 96th minute, I should say, we had a free kick. Madsen took it, and it wasn't the best of free kicks, it wasn't, but it got out wide to Poku, who tried to run it into the box but got tackled. It was a call for a penalty, but Varane took the ball, passed it back to Kieran Morgan, who pretty much had a cracking shot at goal outside of the box. Pretty much similar to the Watford goal we scored this season, but more lower in the corner, not so high up. So yeah, great finish by Kieran Morgan yet again, super sub. Defensively not great, but attackingly really brilliant, with a great strike to finish it off a 2-1 win at Loftus Road, which put us in 6th position. or I should say kept us in 6th position. Otherwise, if we drew, it would have been that one of those things where we go again and we say, oh, well, look at that, we've let it down yet again in the final minutes, you know. But I would say attacking wise, we were more the threat. Birmingham had the ball possession. We had the more expected goals, total shots, and big chances. Birmingham, in my sense, like I said, if they're gonna not take many shots and they're gonna score from them, it clearly means, you know, we need to work on our defensive line a bit. We can't be letting them goals in at 90 minutes plus, and giving up, really, you know, because I said, listen, we gave up. Let's be honest, we gave up from the 70th minute we did, and just let them have the ball, you know, and as soon as they scored, full on attack. I don't understand why we play this game where we need to just be on point and attack, get like 2 or 3 goals ahead or 2 goals ahead, so that if we do want to go, all right, cool, let's lay back. It's no time to lay back only 1-0 ahead. It's stupid, you know. It needs to be worked on. It needs to be improved. So yeah. Nick says, agreed. I've always said that we have the players with the good ability, but we have to keep it organised at the back as well as press. Nick also says, no matter the chances that are created, we have to be solid all around. Which I agree. I agree with you completely, Nick. I think it's what I've been saying all season. You know, we showed great aspects of attacking in the first couple of games of the season, you know, and I don't know where that's gone. It's disappeared. It really has, you know. We didn't have Kone, you know, at that time. And when we bring in these top strikers, you would expect it to be on point. But we haven't been consistent like a great attacking team, in my opinion, for a while now. You know, the last time, obviously, when we watched against, say, Preston, North End, at the first game at home, we were constant on attack. We looked great. But for some reason, that attacking has gone down, you know, even though we're getting the goals from Burrell and stuff like that. I want to see, I know we can do more because we have those players. I want to see it, you know. I don't want to be sitting back on 1-0 at the 78th minute and then them scoring, and then we have to panic and get up there and score. And yeah, again, Kieran Morgan saving us, you know. Like, it's one of them things it needs to be fixed, man. You know, we can't be giving up constantly on a 1-goal lead, you know. It needs to be consistent. It needs to be attacking all the time. But we got the job done. At the end of the day, we got the job done, and that was the main thing. You know, we got the 3 points, and Julian Stefan has just done it again for us, you know. I don't think he'll get sacked ever yet. Well, not anytime soon. But I think he's doing the objectives is what needs to be done, you know. We haven't seen QPR like this since I would say probably Mark Warburton days. So yeah, I would honestly say, you know, since Mark Warburton, you know, we're starting to see a consistency of being in the top 10, or breaking into the top 10, I should say. So yeah, but realistically, the thoughts is this, you know, we got to win. The 3 points are there. You know, we got to learn to be more attacking and scoring more, not more goals, but more than 1 goal in a game. You know, we need to have chances in there, and we need to kind of operate around what positions now our players are going to play, because I still think, you know, even though he got the man of the match, and Mbenge did, and he played on the right yet again, and his attacking threat, you know, I still don't see him as a great winger, you know. I think he's more of a centre-back, in my opinion. You know, Steve Cook did okay, but I'd honestly rather just see, if it's down to me, I'd rather just see Mbenge in that middle, if it was down to me. And maybe not Kieran Morgan on the right, but maybe trying out Adamson for now and going from there. But I can still see weak links in that team, which we need to focus on in January. But I think the main thing is like, listen, look, we're in the top 6. We've got Middlesbrough away. If we, we know it's going to be a tough game. We know it's not going to be easy. Even though Middlesbrough have been in a situation now where they've lost the manager, got a new one, but they're still doing well. And it's an opportunity for us to even break in to even higher into the top 6. So my thoughts are this: we need to work hard today, tomorrow, and whenever, and make sure that we get the result that we need. If it's a draw, I'm happy with that against Middlesbrough. But as long as we don't lose our position out of the top 10, I'm happy with that. I'm happy. Full congratulations to the boys. They to get back into the game and win it for us in a 90-something minute is pretty impressive. So good to them. But I just want Julian to be like, all right, cool, this can't happen again, kind of thing. We can't be sitting back 78th minute waiting for the final whistle to go. But hopefully it gets corrected yet again, and builds on from there. Nick says, terrible going forward, it shows, but glad to have him at the back. Do you think that he has to play a 5 in midfield to complete the mirror? I think, see, I like the Madsen Varane middle, but I honestly think, in my opinion right now, I would say probably a 3 in the midfield. He might want to go back to 4-3-3, where he had at the start of the season. I still think Kieran Morgan deserves a chance, but I also think Sam Field deserves a chance still as well. Whether they can all work together, I don't know. And obviously the playing style it is, but I honestly, listen, look, I love Kone, I love Burrell, but I feel like none of them can play together. And a lot of people hate on Michi Frey, about he can't play Kone, but for what I'm seeing now, I honestly don't think Kone can play with Burrell. That's my personal opinion. They're all 3 great strikers with kind of similarities in different ways, but I still think the most informed striker should be playing up front by himself now. I think Sato, if you do play three behind the striker, Sato definitely needs to play in the middle or on the right. Chair could either play in the middle or on the left. Dembele could play on the right. He can maybe play him in the middle as well. Poku is more of a right-sided player. Paul Smith, I think Paul Smith plays a lot better on the left. I'll be honest with you. I think we see a lot of him better on the left-hand side, because he gets to cut in, and he's a pretty quick player. So I think, in my opinion, have a look into that. But yeah, striker wise, I would say for sure we need to definitely have only one up front. I don't think any of our 3 forwards can all play together on the same pitch. Not dissing them, not saying that they're shit. I just, in my opinion, the tactics and the formation and stuff like that, I feel like one striker is enough right now. And if that's Burrell, Kone, Michi, whoever it is in form, goes from there. So yeah. Nick says, do you think that he has to play a 5 in midfield completely? I've already read that. Nick says, I think it will be too open the way Middlesbrough play with going forward with so many players this way, with Hayden in there too. We can catch him on the break. I think Middlesbrough is going to be, well, we'll talk about Middlesbrough tomorrow when we do our preview show, but I think Middlesbrough is going to be more of a counter-attacking game because they're at home and they are killing it at the moment. Looking at them, they're a very attacking team now, in the sense of where they're not giving up. They continuous on attack with their, strikers and midfielders, And one thing is, when we go to Riverside, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So fingers crossed, Saturday we get a result that we want, not that we think, But ending it on a positive, like I said, we're in the top 6. Great response by the team last night. I was really chuffed, really pleased. It says Jimmy Dunn actually got man of the match on this website here, but obviously Mbenge got Sky Bet man of the match. Rating wise, Nardi got a 6.8. I generally don't know why he got a 6.8. He actually did really well last night. You know, Nardi did a couple of good saves. I'm not gonna lie, he did. You know, if you're just watching highlights, sometimes you're not gonna probably think of that. But if you watch the whole game, you'd see it. Davis got a 7.8. Davis did right. Do you know what? That might have been Davis's best game. Personally, I think that might be Davis' best game yesterday. I think he did a cracking job. Cook, I'll be honest, apart from the goal out from Birmingham, you know, he kind of killed it with Jimmy Dunn last night. You know, Jimmy Dunn was pushing into that box, pushing and defending really well. And Bengay 7.2, like I said, the only reason why I still think he could be better is playing centre back. You know, I just don't think attacking threat and on the wings it's for him. You know, he gets a bit, you know, he's always losing the ball, and that's one thing you don't want from a fullback when they make mistakes. So yeah, Sato 7.7. You know, I can't really say much on Sato because I like the player, but I just think right now we need to find the right position for Sato and the right way to play him. You know, he has scored obviously goal this season and assisting, and he's getting involved in the goals. But I feel like we got so much more. We got more to see out of him. You know, I feel like he's a cracking young player. He is. You know, he's got pace, he's got skill, he's got, you know, all of this stuff. But I just feel like we're playing him wrong, man. I don't know why. When you watch Sato play, you could see he's a talented, gifted player, but we don't see it that much, you know? So yeah, I just feel like we're playing him in the wrong way. I do. Madsen got a 7.8. Listen, look, Madsen since last season, he's been the main man, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Dunn ever left, Madsen would probably take the role of captaincy, and I would say that Madsen is a key, the magic key to our system in the middle. You know, I think he gets it going, man. He's our box to box player. He gets involved in chances. You know, he's you know, getting past players and tackling and getting the ball back. You know, we see this is the Madsen that we signed, you know, originally when we looked at the videos and all of that, why we signed him. This is finally why we're seeing him, you know. Varane got an 8.1 and an assist, obviously, but like again, Varane's to me is still gotta be 100% on point. You know, at the start of that game, it wasn't great, giving away the ball constantly a lot. He was. Like I said, he's one of my favorite players since signing him last season. You know, I think he is going to be a key player for us getting promoted, and a key player for us staying up in the Premier League if we ever keep him. Would be lovely. I think if, you know, he's going to be a valuable asset if we sell him. You know, he's going to be worth a lot of money, in my opinion. And I think he's still got, obviously, a lot of learning to do. He's still young. So I think if he works on more on what he needs to do best, then yeah. Paul Smith, 6.6. I think that's a bit harsh him, to be honest, a 6.6. I thought he did well yet last night. I thought he smashed it yet again, man. Smith's been on form. You know, he might not be scoring goals, but he's, you know, he pushes the ball up there. You know, he does a cracking job with getting the ball up there. So yeah, no bad judgment for him whatsoever. You know, he does his long throws, which is brilliant for us. So yeah. Moving to Kone, 7.1. I'll be honest, I don't understand how he got a higher rating than Burrell. Burrell got a 6.5. You know, I think they're two great players, but I think they should have just had the same rating, whether that's 6.5 or 7.1 each. You know, they weren't excellent. Kone did miss a chance, a really good chance, but they held the forward line pretty well, apart from the attacking part in the first half, really. You know, second half we woke up and we started to see something that was pretty much okay. You know, we was doing okay. We had a couple of chances. First thing I would say is Dembele, don't ever take free kicks again. You know, you're not great at it. I think leave it to Madsen and Chair. you know, free kicks. That would be brilliant for us. So yeah, I don't want to see Dembele hit another free kick. That was terrible, man. I can't believe he did that. That was mad. But yeah, that's the player ratings. It is. So yeah, if we look at the bench, obviously Kieran Morgan got a yellow card, obviously because of his shirt coming off, and a goal in 86 minutes. He didn't give him a rating, to be honest. Poku got 6.3, Dembele 6.7. So yeah, it would have been nice to see Daniel Benny come on. I'll be honest, Daniel Benny is an exciting young talent. I think he's going to be very essential for our future, I would say. A lot of good words coming from Julian for Esquadina as well. You know, I think Esquadina needs to understand this. Listen, look, you're going to have critics come at you all the time, you know, and I'll be one of them, 100%. You know, there's going to be times where you're going to piss me off because you have. But I think you have such good talent, Esquadina. You know, I think you have a future here, you know, but sometimes it takes time to adapt into a league like the Championship. So, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, you know, he stays and he fights and he continues for QPR. You know, I can see potential there. I would never say if he was really shit, you know, I would have probably dissed him like, I don't know, Steve Cook or something like that. But yeah, but there is talks of Ryan Colley at the moment not being happy at the club or whatever. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Comments. Nick says, if you had a choice out of a goalkeeper or Ronnie Edwards, who takes priority? When you say takes priority, are we saying signings? If you're talking about signings, I already know the keeper I want, and all of you know what the keeper I want. You know, everyone knows what the keeper I want because I brag about him constantly. You know, I brag about this keeper constantly because I think he's bloody brilliant. You know, and he's playing tonight against Ipswich. Johansson from Stoke. If we're gonna sign a keeper, that's the player we need. You know, that is a keeper, traditional keeper. You know, that's who I would personally bring in. You know, I think Johansson, the keeper from Stoke, is hands down #1 target for a goalkeeper for any team. You know, he's quality. He's honestly quality, man. I don't know why it's done that. Nice to see Poku once he plays regularly. Be interested to see his best position. His best position's on the right. It's clear as day it's on the right, but you know, he's got to fight for his position. You know, it's not going to be granted and gifted to him. You know, unfortunately, he got injured at the start of the season, and he got injured yet again when coming back. So, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, he can fight for his position and get an opportunity and a chance. But right now, there's other players ahead of him. So, you know, it's not going to be easy. But fingers crossed he can get the job done. You know, I sound like Bob the Bloody Builder now. So yeah. But we're gonna leave it there for tonight. That is pretty much the match reaction. I think that's pretty much, hopefully that's all covered well. Not much else for, unless I've missed something. If I have, put it in the comments below. Definitely. We'll get that sorted and corrected for sure. But oh, good to hear that discussions are going on with Ronnie and about where they need in January. Okay. Well, I think, like I said, if we're going to talk about January, I would say he's definitely going to be talking about what he needs. And I reckon he's going to say right-sided back. He's probably going to say a centre-back. I don't think, unless he sells a keeper, I don't think he'll bring in a keeper. You know, I think personally, I got a funny feeling it's pretty much going to be all about Ronnie Edwards and a right back. I think defense to me is the only thing that we need to work on. I think if we do sign Davis permanently, that will happen in January only if Zancella gets sold though. That's my opinion. Mentioned in the forum. Okay, I need to look at that. I mean, I might have missed that. I might miss that. I should go and look at that actually. I do appreciate Nick. I do appreciate it, man. I'll have a look at that for sure. But yeah, for me, priority is definitely Ronnie Edwards. And yeah, like I said, 100%, if we're gonna sign Davis, Zancella will definitely be sold, I reckon. Because you gotta remember, we're not, just because our owners have money doesn't make us a rich club anymore. You know, we have to work in a budget. Restrictions are there now because of Harry Redknapp, Mark Hughes, Tony Fernandez, and Les Ferdinand. And you know, people can say you put the point below blame, but that is my point. You know, I'm allowed my opinion. So if you know, if you don't like it, you know, I can't really say much on that behalf. But my opinion is this: the 4 people that run the club, Mark Hughes, Harry Redknapp, Tony Fernandez, and Les, you know, that's what put us back down there. So yeah, I think Christian Nuri is the best person for us. I think Julian Stefan is the great decision to bring in from Christian Nuri. And I think if we have the right backing with the Matals and whoever it is else is in charge, I can't remember the surname, I do apologize, but I think the club is well run now. You know, that's my personal opinion. You know, it's something that we've been looking forward to and we've needed for a long time. So yeah, whatever happens, if they do sell the club, hopefully they sell the club to a decent shareholder and someone that actually wants to work on the club patiently, not rushing and panic buying for players that are, you know, wanting big wage, you know. So at the moment, I feel like we're doing a cracking job in that section. So yeah, but that's enough of me chit-chatting. We're going on too much, I think, at the moment. We'll probably do a January one. Obviously, we've got a podcast soon coming up, hopefully. But yeah, thank you, Nick, for tuning in. Much appreciated on the chats. And whoever else tuned in to watch. So yeah, big shout outs to all of you guys. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to. And peace, love, positivity. We'll catch you tomorrow for our match preview, Middlesbrough away. And yes, I just realised, Dan Berry, thank you for the new subscriber. Much appreciated. Much love. Well, peace. Catch you in a bit, boys and girls, if there's anyone watching. So yeah.